What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and breaking news just coming out today that, man, things are not looking good for our economy. And we've already had a response from the White House that might shock you and members of Congress. It's all coming out right now. We're going to be seeing what's going to be unfolding here with the inflation, a recession, with stimulus. I'm going to get you caught up on the headlines coming out and video footage. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, for those of you that follow me here on the channel, you know I'm keeping you up to date on everything, every step of the way. And I share with you all of the sources. They're linked down below. Read them right on the screen and give it to you the latest so that way you know what's going on. And take a look at these headlines just coming out today, you guys. Inflation is the 5-alarm fire burning down the American economy. And yes, this came out way worse than anybody was anticipating. Take a look at this. Inflation hits a 9.1% in June, highest rates in more than 40 years. They're saying that these costs that are record highs that you're experiencing every day when you go to the grocery store, the gas pump, they're high, they might go higher, and it doesn't look like they're coming down anytime soon unless there's some sort of intervention from the Federal Reserve. And take a look, you guys, Bank of Canada, they hiked their rates to 2.5% in a bid to crush inflation with a 100% basis point increase. Now, we just saw the Federal Reserve do a 75-point basis increase. We're probably going to see some other increases at significant rates as well. But you guys, take a look at what the White House had to say. A lot of people shocked by this response. Biden calls inflation report unacceptably high but out of date. Biden says inflation unacceptably high but not as bad as it looks. And a lot of people are saying, what is going on? These prices are out of control. And we're hearing that it's not as bad as it seems. Well, you guys, take a look at this article. Just came out a little while ago. On the menu today, we expected another month of abysmal inflation numbers, but this morning's figures are even worse than the consensus projections. An astonishing 9.1%. Our national problems are exasperated by our president, who can't admit when things are going wrong. Even as he approaches 80 and works in the Oval Office, Joe Biden exhibits signs of being deeply insecure. Yesterday, I warned people to brace for another month of bad inflation numbers. This morning, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released the new inflation numbers for the month of June, and somehow they were even worse than the grim forecast that we were warned about. And you guys, let me know your thoughts. He's saying it's not as bad, but people are feeling this in their everyday lives. A lot of people are saying their number one concern right now is inflation, a recession, these record high prices, and stimulus, and how are we going to be dealing with all of this? Well, you guys, take a look at a statement that was just released 6 minutes ago from the time of this recording from Senator Joe Manchin. Take a look at this, you guys. He has issued a statement warning us about spending and inflation, and it reads the following. For more than a year, leaders in Washington have ignored the serious concerns raised by myself and others about the rising costs of inflation. While Washington seems to now understand the reality, it is time for us to work together to get unnecessary spending under control, produce more energy at home, and take more active and serious steps to address this record inflation that now poses a clear and present danger to our economy. No matter what spending aspirations some have in Congress or want to have, it is clear to anyone who visits a grocery store or the gas station that we cannot add any more fuel to this inflationary fire. Wow, that coming out from Joe Manchin. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. And he right now is under negotiations with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer for the Build Back Better bill. So, are we going to see this start to have some issues as well? Let me know your thoughts. And President Joe Biden is saying it's not that bad. Will we see more executive orders come out from him for stimulus provisions and assistance? Is he going to change his tune? Let me know your thoughts, but we're hearing that a recession could be on the way, even though him and White House Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said it's not inevitable. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Are they in denial? What is going on? Well, I'm going to keep you up to date with whatever unfolds. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I've got some video footage that's going to break down everything for us. But before we do me a quick favor, smash the like button if you appreciate the updates, keeping you up to speed on everything going on. Leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date on everything that's taking place, I'll let you know about stimulus, Congress, the economy. It's totally free. Why not? Come join the Ram fam. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Just takes a second and I'll keep you up to date. Any specific questions, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. And also, there's a lot of financial assistance out there right now that a lot of people don't even realize. We're hearing 90% don't even know about it, and that is city, county, and state stimulus checks, child tax credits and provisions, rebates, that are available for you right now for limited amounts of time. But in many cases, you got to apply. And if you miss out, the money just goes back to the government and you missed out on a huge opportunity to get some financial assistance. Well, I want to make sure that does not happen to any of my viewing community. So this month, I'm going to be releasing a comprehensive list of all these checks so you don't miss out. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be releasing it very soon. And also check out my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, so that way not only you can survive, but you can thrive. This week, I'm releasing new videos every day at noon, 60-second videos, informational, to try to help you out with growing wealth, personal finance. I released a longer video earlier this week on the real estate market and conditions that are coming, sharing with you the latest data. So check that out as well if you're interested. I'll pin a comment down below. Click the link, go subscribe, turn on notifications. I hope that's a blessing to you. But with that being said, you guys, let's dive into the latest news coming out. Let's take a look at this video footage on what's happening right now with our economy and inflation.
All right, 27 past the hour. We learned moments ago that last month consumer prices rose 9.1% compared to this time last year. That was worse than economists expected. Joining us now, columnist and editor for the New York Times Deal Book and co-anchor of CNBC's Squawk Box, Andrew Ross Sorkin. Good to have you.
Andrew, and if you're President of the United States, there are 4 words you do not want said consecutively. Worst inflation since 1981. I mean, we're going back to the days of Paul Volcker, baby. That's not good news for anybody.
We are, and what you're seeing in an even worse case politically is it's the costs that we all know and frankly that capture the middle and the bottom of the most. We're talking about rent, which is higher. We're talking about gas, which we know is higher. And we're talking about food, which is higher. And so you're seeing these things be persistent. It is not changing at the moment. There's a little bit of good news only in that we've seen gas prices over the last couple of weeks start to come down just a little bit. That's not something you're seeing in that report because these are backward looking. But nonetheless, I think this is going to raise lots of questions, both politically in Washington, but also, of course, what does the Federal Reserve do? There is an expectation, as we all know, that they are going to hike interest rates to try to tamp this down. The question is, do they have to move, as you referenced Paul Volcker, do they have to move aggressively and really try to tamp things down? They've desperately been trying to avoid that, and they may now get forced into a position to do so if this persists. Of course, wages have remained persistently high as well, which is good for the consumer to some degree, but of course is also keeping costs across the board quite high as well.
Yeah, boy, that devastating numbers for working Americans, for people on fixed income as well. I feel compelled to go to Walter Isaacson to get a Shakespeare reference for this news, for this time, Walter. Now, this is bad. You like me, you remember 1981. You remember the high inflation. Absolutely devastating for people on fixed incomes, devastating for working class Americans, just like it's devastating now, all these years later.
And the main thing is fuel prices seem to rocket through every other part of the economy. I had a question for Andrew, if I might, which is if we don't have a Volcker, in other words, if the Fed doesn't really clamp down hard, what's the real danger? Could this totally spiral out of control?
I mean, that is the danger. The danger is that it does totally spiral out of control, and when we see these numbers continue to rise consistently, and that's, I think, the worst case scenario. But unfortunately, increasingly it appears like the worst case scenario is upon us, and there is no going back unless you do something about it. But the conundrum, and this is different than what Paul Volcker was dealing with, is it's still a supply chain shock, which is to say there is a lack of supply, not just in terms, and we've talked about it before, of semiconductors and parts, but of labor, of humans, of people. And so as long as that dynamic is at play, we've got a problem. And so you're trying desperately to just tamp down demand, almost to give the supply chain time to come back online.
And Andrew, we're watching right next to you that number go down about 400 points here at the opening bell on the Dow. Just ticking through some of these numbers specifically, groceries up 12%. That's the biggest increase since '79. Chicken up 19%, biggest increase ever. Gas 60%, and on and on and on. These are historic highs for so many of these categories. I was at our favorite diner the other day with my daughter, and I always like to check in with the owner who made it through COVID, thank God, with her business intact. But she said everything is costing her twice what it cost her not long ago. She's having to reprint her menu. She's worried about losing customers because the food is generally affordable there. And this is a scene that's playing out in millions of small businesses across the country.
Everything costs more. Everything costs more. And the irony is what the Federal Reserve wants to do in certain ways is actually make it cost even more. That's why you're actually seeing the stock market go down, because what people are saying is, look, if it costs more to borrow, you might spend less, but in the short term, it will create higher prices everywhere. So the dynamic is a very unique one, and one that we as a country and from an economic forces perspective is not something we've dealt with.
Andrew Ross Sorkin, CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin, thank you very much.
So there you have it, you guys. That is the latest breaking news coming out right now for our economy. And like I said, we're going to be seeing how Congress responds to this, the Federal Reserve, what's going to be unfolding here, and whatever takes place, I'm going to make sure that you know I will keep you up to date. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments. Share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, it's free. Why not hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Just takes a second. I'll let you know all that's taking place. Any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance. And as I mentioned, keep an eye out for that comprehensive list of all checks on all levels so you don't miss out on anything. But with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.